Okay, as promised before, in this video we're going to look at how to create a simple calculator where the user can choose between adding or subtracting the number, using an if-then statement and an else-if statement in order to make this choice happen, in order to allow Python to check whether something happened and to give the result. First of all, we need to give the user the choice. We need to create a variable, let us just call it choice for simplicity's sake, and we gotta give the user the choice between option 1 and option 2. Option 1 being adding and option 2 being subtraction. Since we want the user to input 1 or 2, we'll make this choice variable in integer. So integer input, we know how to get input from the user, and in the brackets we give him a message. To add input 1, to subtract input 2. So we have created a variable, or we are creating a variable that waits for the integer, a number input from the user, who will then hopefully input either 1 to add numbers or 2 to subtract numbers. Now, if the user chooses 1, then we want certain numbers to be added. So now we create a block, we create this logic statement, a block of code which describes what will happen if the user selects 1. So if choice, the variable, is equal to 1, which corresponds to adding, then, the then always being the semicolon, then we want to then we want the following things to happen. Now note that the following things that we put here are going to be indented. They are indented by 1 tab distance if you press the tab button, and by indenting these we know that Python knows that they will only execute if this is true. If we write under the if statement and write something here, for example, this line would execute even if this is not true. But if we have it indented, this line would only execute if this is true. So indenting is a way of organizing our code and showing Python what code belongs to which section. So if choice is equal to 1, then we want to add. So we want the first number. This is like the other calculator we already made. Input integer, first number, and then y is equal to integer input second number. Next thing, we want to get an answer, which is the sum of the two, so x plus y, and we want to print the answer. Now, all of this code here will only execute if choice, this variable here, is equal to 1. If it is equal to 1, then it will go through line by line, execute this until it is done. Now, if choice is equal to 2, this code will not be executed. But we have to put in some code that will be executed, because 2 is another option, it's subtracting. So else if, if not this, then if choice is equal to 2, we copy this because we're lazy. Okay. Then we will subtract. So if the choice is not 1, then this code will not execute. But if it is not 1, but if it is choice 2, then this code will execute, asking for the first number, the second number, subtracting them from one another, and printing the answer. Here we are, a simple program, a simple calculator, where we now have the choice to either to either add or subtract. Now let us execute, or first save this program. Calculator with logic.python. Let us first save this program and now execute it. To add input 1, to subtract input 2. Let us begin by adding a number. First number 10, second number 5, 15. here we go. The, we were asked by the first line to input something for this variable, for the variable choice. We inputted 1, and then it moved on. If choice was 1, that was the case. What choice was equal to 1. So this code executed, asking us for the first number, the second number, calculating the answer, and printing the answer. Now, once more, let us try if subtracting works. So option 2, enter first number, 10 minus 5. 5 is the answer, and last time I checked, that's correct. So our little program is already working. Now, let us add a condition or something that happens if the user neither enters 1 nor 2. So, if the choice is not this, but anything else, then we will print, say, invalid input. So, if the input here, if choice is equal to anything that isn't here or here, so 1 or 2, this will happen for all other possible values that choice could have. So we save this, execute it one more time, and put in a 55 invalid input. Notice if we execute it once more and put in the 1 will still allow us to add numbers. This is a very simple example of a simple logic structure, but you can see that this simple logic structure already allowed us to make a program where the user can choose between different things and has many more options, twice the options that we had in the simple calculator. Next video, we're going to look at a few more things of how to evaluate, how to check for whether certain values are something. There's a bunch of stuff that you can check for in an if-then statement, and we're going to start off on work with another example to illustrate a bit more how useful this is. And yep,